Hi, this is Dr. Kathleen Hallinan, and we are continuing with our weight loss vlog. So, we're going to go over today weight and sleep apnea. This is something that hardly anybody knows that they have, and when you suggest it, they look at you like you have three heads. So, keep this in mind. Sleep apnea is something that was not even on the radar when I was in training, and it is largely occurred or come to prevalence because of the overall gain in weight that people have. You can be slim and have sleep apnea. However, that is the uncommon presentation. The reason this is important with weight is that it is not only a result of weight gain, but it also contributes to the inability to lose weight, because when you have sleep apnea and you stop breathing all the time during the night, it becomes very difficult to do all the things that you would otherwise need to do to lose weight. And so let's go over that, okay? So here we go, my board. So weight and sleep apnea. Often people do not know. They don't know that they have sleep apnea. They don't notice that they're waking up during the night. They think they sleep fine. As a matter of fact, as soon as their head hits the pillow, they're out. But the other problem is that as soon as they sit down to watch TV, they're also out. Or if they sit down to do any work at a computer, they would nod off. Or the worst thing is if they're driving in a car, they will nod off. So being easy, having an easy capability to just fall asleep doesn't mean you don't have sleep apnea. If anything, that is a big red flag that says, hey, you probably aren't sleeping right and your body is just ready to fall asleep at the drop of a hat. So, very tired, loud snoring. What happens because of this? So your cortisol levels go up. When you're sleep deprived, your body raises the level of your stress hormone. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it causes you to often carb crave, and it causes you to retain resources. So it's a stress hormone. It makes you kind of hold on to your resources or hold on to your energy stores, because when your body's in a stressed state, it becomes very greedy. So high cortisol levels occur as a result of being sleep deprived. So there's a reason the UN considers sleep deprivation a form of torture. When you can't sleep, your brain never goes into REM sleep, which is called rapid eye movement sleep. That is where your brain heals itself and becomes regenerates and restores itself. If you never go into that, you become very moody, short-tempered. People can get depressed, people can get anxious. So sleep deprivation causes a lot of kind of mood swing symptoms, excessive fatigue, and what happens to your body physically when you're sleep deprived. So those things. You carb crave, and every time you stop breathing at night, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, and your oxygen level goes down, and then you rouse yourself so that you are getting more oxygen back, and then the blood pressure and heart rate gradually go back down until the next time that you stop breathing enough to rouse yourself, and all of this cycle happens over and over again every night. So this is very detrimental for your brain to restore itself. And again, we've talked about in the past that there's a lot of communication between your brain and the rest of your body in helping you regulate your energy. So the other really big concern here is, apart from weight, is that people die earlier if you don't treat their sleep apnea. So if you're having trouble losing weight and you feel exhausted all the time, and even if nobody has told you snore or nobody said anything, if you have any of these things that seem to be happening, get a sleep study. You can get a home sleep study. They can do them at home now. You can get, which is not quite as good as an official sleep study that you would go to usually to a facility to get done, but usually it will give enough information. And sometimes it's a battle with your insurance to try to get it covered. If you can't get either of those things covered, the really poor man's test for sleep apnea is to do something called an overnight oximetry. So this is where they just put a little clippy thing on your finger that measures oxygen. And if you drop your oxygen all night long, then that's a really big red flag that you ought to get a sleep study done. And usually once you can prove that, usually you can get the insurance to cover the sleep study. So this is my little talk on weight and sleep apnea. I know it seems like little off the beaten path, but trust me, if you have sleep apnea, it will be so much harder for you to lose weight than if you actually find out you have sleep apnea and you get it treated. And a lot of people right off the bat say, I'm not wearing one of those masks, so I'm not even going to get it checked. don't look at it that way. Get the study. And if you have sleep apnea, you don't necessarily have to wear the mask. They have oral devices that you can use that will go in your mouth and kind of pull your jaw forward and can actually correct the sleep apnea that way. They're not as reliable as the masks. But even those masks, they have what are called nasal pillows, which just go over your nose and kind of cover it here. And so it doesn't have to be some big, huge facial mask. So there are a lot of options because so many people now have sleep apnea. So don't kind of dismiss it out of hand. If you think you have these symptoms and you're having difficulty losing weight, then get the sleep study done. And if you have sleep apnea, treat it because it will help you lose weight. You'll be more awake during the day. You won't feel exhausted. And lots of times the mood improves. People aren't depressed. They aren't, short-tempered. And you should find that a lot of things kind of start to fall into place. Trust me, sleep is so important. You were engineered to sleep a third of your life. So think about it. That's really crucial from an evolutionary standpoint. Nature doesn't make you do stuff that's not beneficial. And a third of your life to sleep, that ought to tell you how important it is. So get this stuff checked. You're all doing great. Great questions. We'll keep plugging them out here and hope these things are helpful for you. Okay? So good job. And if you haven't, again, go back. This is kind of like the 18th or 19th video here. So there's a lot of information in the old ones. Okay. Good job. Thanks.